Seated among you guys are the university's Board of Trustees and the Presidents and Provost Councils. We are also joined by alumni prior to the start of MEP who created the path for minority engineering majors on campus. MEP alumni and current students of the program who are continuing to grow and excel the diversity of campus. And we are joined by campus and community partners that have made MEP's success possible through their recruiting and fundraising efforts. So let's give everyone a hand. Guys, you guys are in for a treat tonight. We have a fantastic program lined up with various speakers, students, graduates, some very important people here are going to be speaking, and then we also have a fantastic performance by some of our undergraduate students coming up at the end, it's so good. It's so good. To get us started, I have the personal honor of introducing Eric Spina, the 19th president of the University of Dayton, and only the second lay leader in school history. He has quickly earned a reputation for his open and collaborative leadership style that led to the development of an imaginative 20-year aspirational strategic vision. Under his leadership, the university is charting a path towards becoming the university for the common good. Annual sponsored research has grown 10% during Dr. Spina's first year to a record $135 million, a testament to the creativity, innovation, and ingenuity fostered here on campus. A mechanical and aerospace engineer by training, Dr. Spina holds 2 U.S. patents and has more than 20 years of research experience in the experimental fluid mechanics field. So please put your hands together and join me in welcoming Dr. Eric Spina.
It's a tough act to follow. So you guys okay if I talk about the physics of hypersonic turbulent flows? It's actually what I know the most about. So it is really a thrill to be here today on really just a landmark occasion for the university and for the School of Engineering. And really, I think especially as an engineer, I'm not the first engineer president. I know Brother Ray was an engineer, so he probably would be here with a puffed chest as well. But really, is a special point of pride as an engineer to understand that we're celebrating something really significant tonight in 20 years of a minority engineering program. This morning, I attended and offered a few welcoming words to the Creating Inclusive Communities Symposium. Something run and really developed and run completely by students. And I talked in my remarks, and I know others talked about the importance of an inclusive community. And when I talked, I said, let's inclusive community is important, but I want to focus on the word creating. Because you really can't have an inclusive community unless you're intentional about it and unless everybody works to make it happen. So you have to be active to create a truly inclusive community. And I'm here tonight to say that the School of Engineering has been active, has been very active, not only over 20 years, but we're celebrating 20 years tonight. So that's why shortly after I was announced as president back in September 2015, I asked Petty Alvarez to pull together some students of color just so I could meet them. And when we went around the room, kind of name, rank, and serial number, more than half of the students of color were engineering students. That's why when we look at our record diverse freshman class, a disproportionate number are students of color. Right? The School of Engineering has been working hard. So as a president, and in particular as an engineering president, who really is focused on helping us create an inclusive community, I'm very proud of this school. I'm proud of the leaders who stepped forward 20 years ago and took the courageous steps to create a minority engineering program and identify the funding to enable that to begin. I'm proud of the leaders, the faculty and staff who have followed in those footsteps and continued to build. I'm proud of the alums who probably 20 plus years ago said, this is something that we need, and advocated and worked with the administration to help make it happen. I'm proud of the students who are here in this room who are following the path of those pioneers. You have, all of you, folks in this line, have changed this school. And that has changed this university, and recognize that as part of this, you've changed lives. And not individual lives, you've affected the arcs of families. And really, as a university, that's what we're about. So that's why we're here to celebrate tonight. And I expect some whooping and hollering later. Everyone's a little bit too staid and conservative. I mean, you're engineers, for crying out loud. So I know many of the students in this room, some that I've known now for almost a year, are part of the largest and most diverse freshman class in the history of the institution. You're part of building something special at this university, part of our path to becoming a more diverse, more inclusive, more equitable university. So students, I want you to recognize that the alumni who've returned to campus to celebrate this 20th anniversary of the Minority Engineering Program are modeling the professional and personal lives that we want you to lead. The faculty sitting at your tables and the staff sitting at your tables are devoted to your success, and not just 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I see lots of emails, I see lots of attention that our faculty and staff pay to you. So they're helping you on this academic journey, helping you to network with working engineers, connecting you to research opportunities, co-ops, internships, and certainly scholarship support and paths towards graduate schools. So I do want to congratulate, as I said, really kind of all the founders and all the faculty and staff who worked on the program. I do want to call out a few people who really have been champions, I know, over the last number of years. I want to identify Mace Cofield, who I saw earlier. I don't know where he's sitting. Mace, how about a round for Mace? I told him before, I know we wouldn't be here without him. So thank you. Laura Bistrick, who again, we wouldn't be here without Laura. Thank you. And Jerika Brown, who I know has been working very hard to make tonight happen. Thank you, Jerika. So I think a lot of our students know about Jerika's career path, but I just want to call it out for a moment, especially to our alums. So she knows what it's like to be a student here, and I think most of our students know that she was a mechanical engineering student here. She then went and worked with GE Aviation for 9 years in supply chain management and engineering before, I guess a little bit over a year ago, returning home now to lead the minority engineering program. Jerika, thank you for coming home. I know there were sacrifices involved, but my sense is this was in your heart. And the kind of the baton that you've taken from Mace and Laura and continue to carry forward. We're very grateful for what you do. And so to identify students, I want you to really recognize that the path you're on has been trod by alums in this room and alums who wish they could be here tonight and alums across the country. It's been built by faculty and staff. And every day, I want you to challenge each other to stay focused, to reach high, and to stay on this path. UD needs you. Society needs you. And I've met many of you and gotten to know some of you pretty well. And I know that you can do it. And that's a testament to your intelligence, your hard work, and I know the critical role of the critical support that you'll get from the Minority Engineering Program. So really, it's a pleasure to be here tonight to celebrate something that's been 20 years in the making. I appreciate you waiting until I arrived to celebrate. But thanks to all who have built, and especially now, thanks to all of you who will sustain this going forward. I told Jerika, start planning 30 and 40 years right now. Okay? So thanks, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew Montour. I'm a sophomore chemical engineer, and I'm from Westchester, Ohio. As we prepare for our meal, I would like to lead us in a prayer that was adapted from the Mohawk tradition. Let's bow our heads as we give thanks to the people, the Creator, and our Mother Earth, as well as for the food we are about to receive and the hands that prepared it. Today we have gathered and we see the cycles of life continuing. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one. We give greetings and thanks to each other as people. We are thankful to our Mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now we turn our thoughts to the Great Spirit and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on this Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Great Spirit. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. And now our minds are one. Thank you, and please enjoy your meals. We will reconvene with the program at approximately 8 p.m.
And so transitioning back into our program, we're going to go ahead and get started with all the spectacular things that I hinted at before. We have, like I said, speakers and all sorts of stuff. And so our first speaker is Gabby Quiros. Gabby is a fourth year in mechanical engineering. She is an MEP ambassador and president's emissary. She has also completed a co-op rotation with Emerson Climate Technologies and has participated in service abroad through an ethos experience in Nicaragua. Join me in putting your hands together and welcoming Gabby Quiros.
Thank you, Jeremy. You know, my parents always remind me that they didn't have the opportunity to pursue education. That's why they want me to take advantage of this opportunity as much as I can. So I went to college, but I really didn't know what to expect from college. There were two things we knew about college. It's important and it's expensive, but that was about it. As a first-generation student, having to navigate things like enrollment, registration, or financial aid alone was intimidating. I was like, I don't know if I'm taking the right classes or when do I register? The college system, at that time I was an undecided major. I tried to get into the School of Engineering, but my grades weren't good enough. And I didn't really know what to do from there. Then I got invited to the STEM Minority Engineering program, and I decided to do it. I was like, I'll get myself out there, who knows what can happen. And it's probably the best decision I've ever taken because I got to connect with faculty like Laura, who helped me tremendously. She met with me one-on-one, and she's like, these are the classes you should be taking. This is the people you need to reach out to. And she kind of just gave me tips for my first semester. And I'm really, truly grateful for that because if it wasn't for her and that support that I had from day one, I would have been completely lost my first semester. And then, as many of you have realized, it's one thing getting into college, but another thing surviving, graduating, getting to this point. But throughout my time here, having that support from MEP, OMA, and my peers was completely, I needed it. And I had Eureka, which is amazing because she's always there to support and guide you, especially if you're struggling. She's always there. She's unconditional. And it's also refreshing and to have that person who has been there, who has felt the same way as you have, who sometimes you're like, I want to drop out. Maybe engineering isn't for me. You get that, you fail that calculus test or almost fail that class. You're like, I'm not meant for engineering. But Eureka's like, I've been there. I know what it's like, and you can do it. So don't give up because it's not worth it giving up. So, and it was her help. And nice to have her. But also, as many of you in here sitting down, your peers are truly important and they play a big role in your college experience. Like Lily, Danny, they were such a help for me, especially as a freshman year. You know, they guide you. They're like, oh, this professor studied this way, or don't take that professor, or just give you. They're just there to help you and support you. And it's also just nice to have that person there to, like, you know, you're having a rough day and just being able to talk to them and let it out, and they makes you feel so much better. So, like, that I just can't put into words how having that support is so important in this experience. So MEP has also helped me grow professionally. They gave me that confidence to go out and apply for that internship or apply for that co-op. I remember Drake was like, Laura was, how sorry you applied for a co-op yet? And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. I don't think I'm ready yet. And she's like, you're never gonna feel like I'm ready for this. You just have to throw yourself in there, and you know, that's how you learn, that's how you grow. So I applied for Emerson Climate Technologies, and I got into the supplier quality engineer, and that was truly, truly amazing, because being in academics, you kind of, what am I doing this? How is this gonna help me in my real job? And then once you're there, you see, well, my work does matter, especially as an engineer. Like, you actually make an impact, and the work you make affects so many different, like, regions that you're working with. So that, I was really grateful for that experience as well. As for my ethos experience, that one I cannot put into words. That has completely changed me. It was 10 weeks that what I lived there, I was not expecting. You know, I was able to work with sustainable energy and learn about it hands-on, and also connect with the people. And, like, it's one thing, you're like, well, they need this, but they're like, no, we really need this. People go in saying, I'm going to build this for you, and I'm going to change your life. And it's not like that. Sometimes people go in, build a crazy design, it's truly amazing, but they never connect with that community. So once they leave, it's like the project was never there, because they don't know how to keep going forward. So having ethos where you actually work with the community and learn from them was completely different, because you realize you can't change the world by yourself. You have to actually take account what other people think and what they really need, and they need to learn from you as well as you're learning from them. And that was so impactful for me, because that's what I want to do in the future, is making sure that I use my engineering skills to help those and learn from them, so we can actually start making a difference little by little. So I just want to let all of you know, especially the freshmen, you know, you're going to have setbacks, and a lot of you have experienced that, but you can't give up because you failed that calculus test, or because you didn't and it's because it's getting difficult. You just need to have the desire to succeed. Look around you. You have a great support system. There are people that genuinely want to help you and want to see you succeed. So I encourage every student to take advantage of this support. And I want to thank the alumni for being role models to us and see them go out and do great things. It's a role model for us to follow. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Larry Burnley, who will share a few words with us. Dr. Burnley was appointed the university's Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion in July 2016. He is a national leader in conversations on diversity and inclusion in American higher education, having served for many years at universities where he successfully worked to build an inclusive campus, community, and workplace. In his short time here at UD, Dr. Burnley has fostered a greater community to diversity and sense of inclusion throughout campus. A native of Cleveland, Dr. Burnley earned his undergraduate degree from the University of Cincinnati, a Master of Divinity from the Christian Theological Seminary in Indianapolis, and a doctorate from the University of Pennsylvania. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Burnley.
Good evening. I'm just going to pause and just gaze upon you just for a minute. You're an incredible, beautiful sight. I've been on campus all day. I spoke at the Creating Inclusive Community Forum organized by students. And now I find myself here. I am here on this campus today when my family is gathering for a pretty big event in Cleveland, and I told my wife that I really needed to be here for these two events. Not because I had to, but I did feel compelled to be here, given my role, but really just to absorb the energy and the inspiration from this group. So with that said, I have prepared comments here. Now, I'm a preacher, by the way, and so I was not going to prepare my comments. I was just going to, do a kind of extemporaneous, as the students might understand, I was going to spit a few rhymes, but I won't show off. But true to being engineering, they wanted very precise, pre-written, measured comments. I will offer my apologies shortly after Dr. Rojas's comments. I'm going to have to leave. I have a very early flight tomorrow for an extended trip for UD. And so it's an honor and a blessing for me to be here. So I apologize in advance. My comments. Today we find ourselves as a human family facing seemingly insurmountable challenges. As a nation and global community, we continue to experience persistent gaps of achievement that disproportionately impact certain populations. As a result, we could find ourselves flirting with despair and hopelessness. But as I look around this room, I see hope on the horizon. For in this very room are rays of light and narratives of endless possibilities. In this room are stories of strength, resilience, sacrifice, brilliance, beauty, love, and a resolute determination to run the race God has placed before us. So tonight we celebrate 20 years of achievement, 20 years of God working in and through a sacred vessel. God has and continues to use as an instrument this vessel to say, yes, we can, in a world that tries to tell us in so many ways, no, we cannot. The instrument we celebrate tonight is known to us as the Minority Engineering Program. Tonight, I am honored to add my voice to the chorus of others in saying congratulations to the administration, faculty, staff, alumni, and current students associated with this program. The Minority Engineering Program exemplifies the essence of inclusive excellence, informed by and responsive to UD's Catholic and Marianist mission, a mission that affirms the dignity of every human being. Inclusive excellence requires a fundamental transformation of the institution, calling for it to embrace and implement means for the comprehensive, cohesive, coherent, and collaborative amalgamation of diversity and inclusion into the university's understanding and pursuit of excellence. The research is clear in pointing out that when leveraged skillfully through interculturally competent employers, administrators, faculty, staff, more diverse and inclusive environments of working and learning enhances creativity, innovation, and problem solving. Driven by this commitment to the advancement of our enduring Catholic and Marianist mission, we endeavor to make the University of Dayton experience accessible to those who have historically been underrepresented, and your very presence here is a testament to the worthiness of that endeavor. We do not do this only because we are compelled by the Catholic and Marianist charism to commit ourselves to justice, but we do this because we understand that making UD accessible to those who have been marginalized and excluded makes us better. Your and our very presence creates the possibility of our delivering on our promise to provide an education of the highest quality, an education that will equip all students with the skills and competencies they need to effectively engage an increasingly diverse world. Your presence, our presence, better positions the University of Dayton to actually be a university for the common good. So as the University of Dayton's inaugural Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion, it is my honor and privilege to serve this community by working with others and building upon the foundation of diversity, equity, and inclusion you have helped to establish. May God bless you. May God bless us all with the conviction, vision, strength, courage, humility, and love to continue on this journey toward inclusive excellence. Thank you. Now I'm truly honored to introduce Dr. Eddie Rojas. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Eddie Rojas. Eddie Rojas is in his 4th year as Dean of the School of Engineering. His mission at the school is to teach engineering that matters, instilling in our students the need to be globally and socially aware and to be leaders in their work and in society. At the school, Eddie has acted boldly. I'll repeat that. At the school, Eddie has acted boldly to diversify in both faculty and in the student body. Since 2014, 2/3 of new faculty hires are women or persons of color. Yeah, really. That's phenomenal. And this fall's engineering class has more females and more underrepresented students than ever before, while at the same time being one of the most academically talented to date. Please join me in welcoming to the microphone, to the podium, Dean Eddie Rojas.
Thank you, Larry. It has been my great pleasure to work with you over the past year on our shared vision of a more diverse and inclusive campus community. When the School of Engineering began its strategic planning process 3 years ago, it became clear that embracing diversity and teaching cultural competence would be important pillars of our plan. We live and work in a global society, one that demands that people with different backgrounds and points of view come together to solve problems and make a difference. That's why we use the slogan, as Larry just said, engineering that matters. It matters that our students are not only technically competent, but globally aware and sensitive to how their skills can benefit others. And we just heard that from Gabby. As a result of the strategic planning process, we created the Diversity in Engineering Center. The center brings together the Minority in Engineering program, the Women in Engineering program, our new international student services, and student recruiting programs and initiatives. Diversity does not just happen. Let me say that again. Diversity does just not happen. It requires an intention to be inclusive and a great deal of hard work. The entire Diversity in Engineering Center has worked extremely hard to make everyone feel welcome in the School of Engineering. They are dedicated to the students they serve and want them to become successful engineering professionals. And I want to recognize you tonight. So if you play any role in the Diversity in Engineering Center, either a faculty member, staff, student ambassador, or a student worker in the center, please stand to be recognized. Don't be shy. We want to recruit a diverse student body into our engineering programs. And last year, as Larry just said, we recruited the most diverse class in school history. The school is more than 100 years old. So this is not a small achievement. And this is the achievement that I feel the most proud of in my tenure as Dean of the School of Engineering. We are not done yet. We're just getting started. It's going to get even better every year. I'm sure of that. And our efforts don't stop there. As Larry mentioned as well, over the last 3 years, we have hired 15 faculty members, 15 new faculty members, and 10 out of those 15 are either female faculty members or faculty members that are from underrepresented minorities. So 2/3 of our new faculty, come here to enrich the diversity of our School of Engineering. As someone who grew up in Costa Rica, became the first member of my family to graduate from college, and then immigrated to the United States, I personally understand what it's like to be underestimated. Let me say that again. I had been in your shoes. I know how it feels to be underestimated. I still remember when I got an invitation to interview at the University of Buffalo for a faculty position. I went and I was extremely excited. And I went to talk to my faculty in my program, my advisor and other faculty members, to ask them if they could, listen to my presentation. They were incredibly surprised. Incredibly surprised. They couldn't believe it. For I don't know how many years, nobody in that program at the University of Colorado at Boulder has gotten a faculty position. I could have been the first one. I was, of course. That's why I'm here, right? But, looking at that surprise in their faces, what was the message that we were conveying to me? Unbelievable. You're not an American. You're Hispanic. How can you think that you can get a faculty position in a university like the University of Buffalo in the US? I felt it. That was the message. No way around that. that only gave me more energy to succeed. That gave me more energy to move forward. And believe me, the underestimation didn't stop there. And it has continued until today. So my advice to you, you're going to feel that. You have experienced that, of course. You can relate to that. I know that. And that is likely to continue. But when you face those circumstances, never give up. Keep fighting the good fight. You are prepared. You are creative. You are going to succeed. I'm sure that many of your stories are similar to this one. That's just one of the reasons why the Minority in Engineering program is such a great model for success. And the represented students in our program are valued. They are encouraged in an environment that recognizes your potential for greatness. You're not just going to do well out there. You're going to be great. You're going to represent the best of what the University of Dayton has to offer. Our program is a model that has worked to attract, support, guide, and graduate minority engineers for 20 years. We certainly believe, I have no doubt about this, that MEP will be here helping us all be better for many years to come. Congratulations to all who have participated in MEP over the past 20 years. We celebrate you tonight. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure now to introduce Kevin Richardson, a 2008 Mechanical Engineering Technology graduate and MEP program participant. Kevin is a project manager with BDR Partners in Atlanta, Georgia. He is healthcare construction certified, holds a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, and served on the Lean Six Sigma Council at Grady Health Systems. While at UD, Kevin was actively involved in the Minority Engineering Program, President's Emissary, National Society of Black Engineers, and the University of Dayton Research Institute's Material and Testing Lab. He was a busy guy. When Kevin is not flying or in his garage tinkering with cars, he can be found enjoying time with his wife, Nicole, and 2 children, Kirsten and Cameron. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome Kevin Richardson back to UD.
I like to move around. I'm put this in my pocket this time. Can everybody hear me? All right. First, I'd like to say thank you to Dean Rojas, President Spina, and also Jerika, and everyone else out here. It was definitely exciting. I hear a little bit of feedback, but it was definitely exciting to come here. And you know, it's funny. I want to also give a special thank you to Frances. She's right here. Yeah, she's right there. She gave me a tour today, and it was really exciting. I mean, so much has changed in the 9 to 10 years since I've graduated. One of the biggest things that I noticed is as soon as I crossed the bridge over to the Miami Valley, Great Miami Valley River, the entire campus is transformed. I mean, there's new buildings, there's brand new wide streets, there are no potholes. You can all pretty much relate on about how unique and awesome the campus is and how good it looks. But one thing I'm a bit jealous about is Mary Chris. So Mary Chris was my freshman year dorm, and Mary Chris now has air conditioning. No, that's seriously a big deal. I remember it's hard to sleep when it's hot. So my first trip was actually to Walmart to get a box fan to put in the window. But I'm definitely impressed and excited. The place looks great. So it's interesting how little things have big impacts. Dayton may have only served 4 years out of my life, but it's really impacted quite a bit more. Dayton has actually helped me achieve 2 of the greatest moments of my life. So I actually started my career in engineering actually before I even got into school. So I was always that kid tinkering with Legos, tinkering with erector sets, playing with cars. You guys are probably looking at a young picture of Kevin, right? Yeah, I thought I was pretty cool. But my Uncle James, he was one of the smartest persons that I knew. My Uncle James actually helped teach me how to find out things and how to problem solve. So I would ask my Uncle James a question. You know, hey, Uncle James, how does this work? Or hey, Uncle James, how does this work? And so one day I asked him, hey, I noticed you've got a computer. You know, what's that about? You know, how does that work? So my Uncle James, he didn't really say much. He just kind of mumbled a little bit. But then about 2 weeks or so later, he invited me down to his basement. And he said, well, I'm going to teach you how to work on a computer. So for that day, we actually built the computer in his basement. It was a 286, had maybe 5 megabytes. I mean, your phone in your pocket right now has more power than this computer. But, I mean, it was a tank. But to me, it flipped the light switch and helped me realize that how to solve a problem. And he taught me how to learn. And that's something that I took into Dayton. It's the little things. My decision to go to UD was pretty interesting. So I was born and raised in Atlanta, and Atlanta has a highway that goes around. It's called 285. And so believe it or not, there's people that have never left 285. So there's people that the furthest they've gone is probably Stone Mountain, and that was a field trip. So everyone knows field trips don't really count, right? But I didn't want that to be me. And so I applied to several different schools, Norfolk State, Florida Tech, Hampton, and of course Dayton. But Dayton was special. I did a campus tour, and during that campus tour, I met with my admissions counselor, Dominic Magwood. I met with former director of MEP, Bruce Carr. And they sat down and they really talked to me and explained to me the values and the benefits of, pursuing an engineering degree here at Dayton. But it wasn't until I got to meet the students and the faculty and spend the night on campus that I really sensed the community. And that community is probably what drew each and every one of you that are an alumni, a staff member, or even a current student. Freshman year. So freshman year was here. See, I told you there's no air conditioning. You can actually kind of see the fan in the window. But freshman year was a shock to me. So just like you guys, I mean, you probably didn't have to study in high school. You put forth minimal effort, and you still made A's, right? Well, that was me, but not at Dayton. Not at Dayton. Calculus, I heard someone else mention calculus, but calculus was my nemesis. calculus was probably one of the most challenging classes that I've taken, one of the most challenging core classes that I took. So my freshman year, I'm in class, I'm studying, I'm working hard, but I'm struggling. And I look around, my classmates, I didn't really know any of them, I'm from out of state and, different backgrounds, different experiences, but, I'm looking at them and they're saying, oh man, this is hard. But then after they take the test, they made B's and A's. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm embarrassed to show them the score of my test. I didn't do very well in that calculus class. Honestly, I ended up dropping that class and having to retake it. Now, I have to tell my mom, my dad, aunties, uncle, that, hey, your son is close to making a D. Yeah, a D. That's not very good. But that's where the power of the MEP program came in. So I sat down with my counselors and we figured out a plan. I started attending study halls. I started attending office hours. Not only doing my homework, but doing my homework. Yeah. And once I began to make these changes and truly learn how to study, it really allowed me to begin the true learning process. But what I was learning was more than just, how to study and how to learn, but I was learning in life. And those experiences would then continue and stay with me. On top of the academic challenges, there was a financial challenge. So going into my sophomore year in college, it was around 2004, and my mom was a teacher, and my dad, he worked in the banking industry, and the banking industry was kind of going through some things at that time. And so my father ended up losing his job, and instantly in a one-income household. And so my sister had just previously graduated a couple years ago, so money was really tight, trying to help her get situated in her new roles and new life. And now I'm trying to figure out, wow, how am I going to make it to sophomore year? But then some things came through for me. So I got a job as a resident assistant. I was an RA. That helped with room and board. Also, I was able to get some additional financial assistance through my church, but most importantly from donors in the crowd like you guys helping out in the MEP program was able to help me financially to move forward with that. So obviously, I was able to continue college. But this is important because not all of my classmates had that same opportunity. Some of them, even in my same major, had to unfortunately drop out of college and pursue a different direction. Now, some of those folks, they're actually now this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they aren't pursuing a career. They're working. And again, that's not a bad thing. I want to be clear on that. But that wasn't the direction that I wanted to go. So thank you, MEP, for helping me continue and making through. Graduation day. Graduation day was extremely emotional, extremely. So my grandpa, he was at the time just turned 80, and he didn't travel at all. I mean, if you wanted him to come to auntie's or cousin's house, you had to pick him up and you had to take him home because he wasn't getting in that car and driving. But my grandpa, he came all the way to Dayton, Ohio just to see me graduate and walk across that stage. Not only my grandpa came, my auntie came, my cousin, if you guys attended the graduation, the folks up there in the stands with the sign, that was probably my family. They're my biggest cheerleaders. And it was exciting. Nothing makes me more happy than to make them proud. So my first job was after I graduated, obviously I have a passion for aviation. It's kind of talked about earlier. And so my first job was actually working for Turner Construction on a brand new airport, the Indianapolis International Airport. It was a $1.5 billion project that was just amazing to work on. And having the opportunity to work on an airport project with my love for aviation, it was something that I couldn't pass up. And so the airport project started to come to a wind around May 2008. It wasn't November 2008, so 6 months later. So it wasn't quite done, but I don't know if you guys remember 2008, 2009. Yeah. Turner Construction unfortunately had to let go quite a bit of staff due to the recession, and a lot of clients ended up canceling their projects. So here I am, I was on the top of the world. Grandma's happy, grandpa's happy, everyone's excited, right? But right before Christmas, now I have to go home and say, Mom, Dad, I'm unemployed, and I just signed a lease to an apartment. But here's the power. Here's the beauty thing here, of not only the beauty of God and faith, but the things that I learned in the MEP program. And my work ethic was actually building a brand. So word quickly got out that I was on the market looking for new opportunities. And by January the 1st, I had a new job. I enjoyed the work life. I had no homework. I really didn't have any bills. I had my college car, and I had no mortgage. So I really had nothing but time. And no kids, by the way, no kids at that time. So all the parents out there completely understand. So I was actually at an air show in Dayton, Ohio. In Indianapolis, about summer 2009. And I'm with a friend, and so we're walking around, and we see a 172. And so my friend's like, hey, Kevin, man, why don't you get in that plane? Go check it out. They'll let you get in there. And I'm like, I don't really want to. I'm okay. He's like, come on, stop being scared. So when he said scared, I was like, well, I had to do it now. That's kind of a man code, right? So I get in the airplane, and I feel something magical. And I'm like, wow, I really like this. So again, that magical 6 months later thing, I was actually preparing for my check ride. And so leading up to about a week before my check ride, I found out what the nickname for my examiner is. His nickname is Flunkin' Duncan. Robert Duncan. I'll never forget Robert Duncan. But Flunkin' Duncan, so we're getting in the check ride, and so we do our walk around the plane. We get in the plane, we fire up the engines, check everything, go through the checklist. Then we taxi over to the run-up area where we test the engines and make sure the plane is in a safe manner so we can depart. So I go through the checklist, apply the brakes, increase the throttle to about 1,700 RPMs, go through the checklist again, everything checks out, pull it back to idle, cool. So I do a little quick briefing, make sure the seatbelt, is on tight, and so then I get ready to depart. So I make my call, Eagle Creek traffic, word 70 Papa Fox, depart runway 3, left close traffic. So I feel like I'm the man. I feel excited. So I apply the throttle to roll out onto the runway, and then the brakes. Well, it wasn't me. I look over, it's Duncan. So he's like, check your checklist, sir. check the checklist, son. So me, yes, sir. So go through the checklist again. You know, everything looks good. Get ready to roll onto the runway. Now I'm thinking, oh, crap. What did I do? He points up, and I look at it. I forgot to latch the door shut. So this is a big deal. So, but what Robert Duncan is teaching me and showing me is that even though the passenger sitting next to me likely has more hours in the aircraft than I do alive, I can't assume that he knows how to shut that door. I'm the pilot in command. I'm the one that's operating and responsible for the safety of my passengers as well as the aircraft and myself. So it's my responsibility to read the checklist, read the details, because checking to see if the door is latched is an item on that checklist, and I failed to do that. Somehow, he still gave me my license though. I got my certificate. But the point of the story is this is something that's details matter. The little things matter. Mistakes in engineering, mistakes in life aren't just one thing that you do wrong. It's typically a series of small events that lead up to something. And so the lesson I learned that day was focus on the little things. Having the thirst to grow a technical aptitude is something we all share in engineering. Discovering the answers to the questions how and why are likely what tickles the pleasure sensors in your brain. As you grow into your career, you'll begin to learn the importance of perfection and the difference it makes. College is tough. You may feel like you're learning things that you'll never need again. You may feel that your professor is pushing you too hard or is being completely unfair. You know, whether you follow my path in construction and build buildings, build hospitals, build schools, or if you pursue a career working for Boeing and you're designing windshield wipers, it matters. Because if you're that pilot on an airplane in instrument conditions with 200 souls aboard in a rainstorm flying into LaGuardia, that windshield wiper matters. And then you may think, well, I just work for a company that designs chairs and tables for commercial and residential settings. It's a chair. What's the big deal? What are you guys sitting on now? You're sitting in chairs, right? That's important. Yeah. But the point of this is, it matters. So as you continue your college career, do it the best you can. Push for success. Don't just be good enough. Be great. If you do, you too can achieve your dreams beyond belief. But just remember one thing. It's the little things that matter. Thank you. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce Miss Jerika.
All right, let's turn this back my way. Oh, man. So you guys know I'm like a big crybaby, emotional person. I am so happy for this day. We've been planning this for months, and I'm just very overjoyed. So bear with me. I'm going to keep it together. But thank you, Kevin, for sharing your story. We don't, as alumni, we don't get an opportunity to talk about our whole experience very often. And so for the students in the audience, you might see an alumni and we make assumptions about how people got to where they are. And I'm just so grateful that you shared your experience so that we can all hear it and we can all see a bit of ourselves in you and your story. So thank you for sharing. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jerika Brown. I'm a 2008 mechanical engineering alumni of UD. I also participated in the minority engineering program. And I have the honor, the blessing, the pleasure of serving as the current assistant director for the minority engineering program. And so that is something that means a lot to me. I'm so honored to have been a participant of the MEP and experience all that the MEP has to offer. I'd like to share a little bit about my story, but celebrating the success of the program as we're doing tonight couldn't be done without recognizing those who have served before me. And so I want to share, again, a little bit about my story, and then I want to acknowledge some of those folks who have paved the way for me to be here tonight. When I started at UD, I was one of 3 black students in my classes. I'm talking chemistry, where there's 100 people in the room. I could look around the room and see me, Lauren, and Dysan. Some of you guys might know those names. I was one of 2 black students on my floor in Stewart Hall. And coming from Cincinnati Public Schools, coming to UD was the first time that I experienced actually being a minority. And so it was a huge culture shock for me. And to be honest, by October of my first year, I was already leaving UD. I had already decided it was not the place for me. But clearly, there's some things that happened that caused me to stay. And I want to share with you guys 3 things that were really instrumental in me choosing to stay at UD. The first thing, like I mentioned, there was 2 other people in all of my classes. Not only were they in my classes, but they were in my enrichment workshop, or detention, as everybody likes to call it. They were also in my res halls. I saw them around on campus. I knew who they were. I saw them in our required MEP meetings that we had on Fridays that nobody ever went to go to because it was at 3:30 on a Friday night. And why would you plan a meeting for 3:30 on Fridays? But I saw them. And not only did I see them, but I got to know them. And getting to know them built really good friendships. And so one of the things as I was going into my spring semester and starting to fill out FAFSA and applying to other schools was, what about Lauren and Dysan? Another thing that happened for me was I got wind of some upper class students trying to rejuvenate the NSBE chapter here at UD. NSBE is the National Society of Black Engineers. I was really disappointed when I got to UD because UD didn't have an active chapter at that time. I had been in NSBE Junior in high school. I was president of my high school chapter. We had gone to regionals and nationals, and I'm like, how you got an engineering program without a NSBE chapter? And so I was super excited that they were rejuvenating the chapter. And when I was asked to serve on the executive board for the next year and be our conference planning chair, I was like, yes, I'll do it, right? Because for me, that experience of going to nationals and seeing 10,000 other black engineering students was powerful. And I was like, students at UD need that experience. And so I was very excited to be able to serve as the conference planning chair. Another thing that happened, I ended up getting a call from an older gentleman who will remain nameless at this time, asking me to come in to interview for a job in the School of Engineering. At that time, I was running out of money. I was like, yes, I need money, job, sure. I interviewed, and I got the offer to work in the School of Engineering. What I didn't know was I was being interviewed to work for the brand new director of the Minority Engineering Program and serve as her first MEP ambassador. That older gentleman's name was Mace Cofield. And And I didn't know Mace then, but I know him now, and I know that it was intentional. It wasn't something that happened by accident. They didn't just go through a list and say, Jerika, pick her, right? There was something special that was going on there. And so those 3 reasons were things that happened for me in my first year. Again, as I had been applying for other colleges, I applied to Tuskegee, I applied to UC because I needed to leave UD. And all of a sudden, I had a life. I had a whole life prepared, planned at UD that I hadn't accounted for. Having this strong foundation built my confidence as an engineer at UD and as a member of the UD community that belonged here. Because again, my reason for leaving was because I didn't feel like I did. But now I had a reason to stay. I had a position in NSBE. I had a job in the School of Engineering, and I had friends that were in my same major with the same thought process as me. The rest of my experience may sound a little bit more familiar to some of the people in the audience. From failing my first test ever in life and being encouraged to not drop thermodynamics, to being really nervous about relocating and getting an apartment in Louisville, Kentucky by myself, and talking with Laura because she had just recently moved from Louisville, and then being devastated and depressed when my boyfriend broke up with me and not going to class because that was important to me at that time, and being able to go into the MEP office and have that conversation because I wasn't going to tell my mama, right? No. What would she say? Girl, what's wrong with you? It's just a boy. Right? So being able to have those real conversations with somebody who knew me and wasn't judging me, it made all the difference for me at UD. And then being able to see myself grow and flourish as a leader on campus, as a leader within NSBE and MEP and other organizations on campus, and being looked up to from other students that were coming in, it made my experience here at UD something that I'm so grateful that I stayed for. The value of MEP is something that is really difficult to articulate in just a few words. And when you ask me about it, I've got my words, I've got things that I want to say, but it's really difficult for people to feel MEP just by talking about it. But by having been a part of it, and then having 9 years of industry experience where I got a chance to travel the world as an engineer, and having the pleasure of recruiting talent from the minority engineering program, and now being blessed to be here and lead the MEP, I'm so grateful for all the groundwork that's been laid for the MEP program. And it's something that's so special to me, and I'm sure for all the alumni in the room, we feel all the same way. With that being said, it's my pleasure to invite Laura Bistrick and Mace Cofield to the stage, please. Yes, please. So, on behalf of the Minority Engineering Program at the University of Dayton, I would like to acknowledge Laura and Mace, as well as Bruce Carr, who couldn't be here with us this evening, but was here at the very start of MEP. We want to thank each of you for your selfless dedication to the growth of the Minority Engineering Program. But most importantly, we want to thank you for being genuine in how you care about students, how you challenged us to not only meet expectations required to get through engineering at UD, but to step up to the plate, to excel as leaders, researchers, servants to the community, and be our best selves. I would also like to thank Julie Brill and Marva Gray, who some of you may know, but I know Laura and Mace would agree, have been the backbone of the minority engineering program for the last 20 years. So at this time, I would ask everybody to stand up and help me in thanking Mace and Laura for their dedication to the minority engineering program. Oh, actually. I made it through. I didn't even like crack or anything. I'm doing good. I'm getting better. At this time, I'd like to switch gears a little bit. We always have students that graduate in December. I was a December grad myself. And so I'd like to take a moment to recognize and congratulate all of our December grads for their accomplishment and to wish them well as they go into finals season and get ready to graduate from the University of Dayton with their engineering degrees. So if you guys could stand up as I call your names, and then if you guys can help me in congratulating them, please stand as I call your names. Brandon Dabney, Allison Gaines, Chris Garcia, Patrick Gray, Candace Keefe, Rafael Margarita, Gonzalo Perez, and Emilio Torres. Please help me in applauding these December grads. Thank you. I'd also like to take this time, and I know it's not time to do this, but I'm compelled to do so. I really want to thank all of the staff and the faculty members and the President's Council and the alumni who have come back to share this moment with the Minority Engineering Program. We are so grateful for you all's dedication and support of the MEP. And I just wanted to take a moment to just share my gratitude for all the support of the Minority Engineering Program for everybody who's here with us tonight. All right, it's almost over, I promise. Even though it's been a wonderful, phenomenal night. It's actually now my pleasure to invite 3 very talented MEP students to the stage for a performance. Without further ado, if I could have Gabe Gayos-Bayote, Alexandria Bennett, and Psalm Gino come to the stage for their performance. And after their performance, Kirsten Simpson, a junior in industrial engineering technology, will be closing out our program and inviting you all to celebrate with us in Torch Lounge.
Just testing it. When the sun is rising over streets so barren, since the evening, colors flash before my eyes. I feel like a child so young and new in 92. I listen to what my father said.
Cold feet, shivering, chills. I get chills often. I get chills often. As my skin begins to hard, bumps across my neck bumpier than the trials of the swan princess, but these bumps resemble a goose. I feel a cold front on my back as my bones feel as if they did wrong, but feel rectified. My spine shifts as if its perspective went from crook to seek divine. Oh, I get chills. Silence. I get chills when I reminisce about those words. The words that said, child, you will be great. Child, I will never say well done because your mission is not at stake. Child, the greatest thing I ever felt were the chills when you embarked upon this world. Oh, I get chills.
Mama told me, girl, you can be anything. Daddy told me, hard work will pay off.
Mama told me, oh, I get chills. The chills I get, I can't even describe. The chills of those words, if only those were the only things that brought the chills to my life, I feel that it would be so much better. But one can't ignore the defiant. The ones who take time out of their day to go against God's truth and take pride to seek a lion. The ones who plunge their tongues into darkness just to spew hatred on a person who would rather not relate to violence. See, these words didn't keep one froze, laid out reclining. I recognize these words were the ones that woke the sleeping giant. The one who stands tall when the activist meets the tyrant. The ones who stands tall when David meets a Goliath.
Keep all your dreams, keep standing tall. If you are strong, you cannot fall. There is a voice inside us all. So smile when you can, when you can.
But it's so hard. It's hard to smile. It's even harder to fight these chills. The chills of my dreams, my ambitions, my goals, my shine rather eclipse, turning my atmosphere from an ozone of prosperity to a black hole in abyss of cold weather and doubt as wind bites my face like a rabid dog, which in disguise was the words that equated to the action. But wait, there's more. Follow me as I paint the scribe. All I'm saying is that I was Kermit the Frog preparing to take a leap, but as I began to squat, I began to feel a tremendous amount of heat. I looked down and I thought it was my fear, but I was surrounded by envy, jealousy, and my antagonism. In short, I just was surrounded and standing in my antagonist's cup of tea, which is clearly none of their business, but my situation was derived from what the people had told me.
But the people told me, girl, you're wasting your time. Do something different with your mind. Oh.
So I did what they told me. I translated their words into a cold, dark room where my mind shivered, my mind cried alone. My neurons slowed down to the electricity in my brain, became a conductor for stress, numbed throughout my bones. How did it get so cold? 1 minute you feel like you're on top of the world. The next minute you feel as if the world is on top of you. How did I even get this far? Maybe this is another phase where life is UPS and it dropped the right mail at the wrong house and I carried that mail only to find out that my return is catching up with me. I'm sorry, but I'm becoming so selfish. It's hard to believe in global warming when we live in a world so cold.
How this used to feel so far and free, now these broken souls are all I see. Fists that fall into our side. We may cry alone, I feel we know where all of this is headed. But my mama said,
she said, pause, this is God's word. This is a faith-based walk. And on this road, I shouldn't be surprised if my shoes get scuffed. Why should I question what I was meant to be? Better yet, why should I question what I confidently chose to be? The investment. The work I put in to get here is exponential, my own shadow sweats. I chose the hard road. The road with every dead end, I chose the hard road. The road with every detour, slippery slopes, erosion, multiple speed bumps, the road where everybody decides to switch lanes, embark upon the exit, change the narrative. I chose the hard road. And because of that, I no longer get chills because I know how to make a fire. I used to dunk, now I know how to double clutch. I used to jump ropes, now I know how to double dutch. I used to cartwheel till I learned how to jump and tuck. Skin used to feel like goosebumps, now it's smoother than rubber duck. I'm just here to tell the people that this story isn't just about me. This story is B-I-G big. This is for all the children who were told they would never amount to something. Oxymoron, because if you speak onto something, that something amounts to something, unless the people who spewed such hatred onto that something were speaking onto themselves. How ironic, they talk to nothing. I'm just here to propose to those subject to the hatred that you are something. See, I propose to those subject to envy, jealousy, antagonism, that one's criticism does not make them critical. And those subject to their own fear, failure, doubt, you choose your walk to success, and footwork is key. So every pivot is pivotal. Your mind can be the gate which sets you free, or the chains which bind you to your limits. So what should I say to those subject to the cold, subject to the weather, subject to the ammonia, the freeze, the sneeze? Please make a fire.
I was battered and bruised, standing in my broken dreams. I was all alone, couldn't find no help. But something inside so strong, told me I could rise if I pressed on. Oh, you can never put a limit on me. It can't stop me, it won't stop me. I'm gonna win. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna win, yeah. You can never put a limit on me. It can't stop me, it won't stop me. I'm gonna reach till I touch the sky. Don't be limited by fear. You can go beyond your limit. Don't be limited by fear. You can go beyond your limit. Thanks.
I already told Jarika this personally, but I feel like everybody should know this. Man, my mic's not working. Jarika, like, this whole ordeal, originally it was just gonna be us performing individually acts that, songs they feel like, okay, this is what I'm gonna showcase my talent, poems that I've written before. This was really derived from her idea that we should do something that celebrates MEP, represent what engineers go through, and do it together, which is really the power that she brings to all of us, putting us together in situations we wouldn't have imagined, to where we have to test our creativity. I didn't expect this poem to be what it is. And I almost backed out because I really, it was tough. It was one of the hardest poems I've ever written, probably one of the hardest collaborations we've ever done in our lives. So really just the thanks and all this definitely goes to you, because you brought it out of us and we didn't even have it.
What we just saw was just an amazing representation of three individuals that are bold. So bold that they were able to collaborate and come together as one. How beautiful is that? I am so proud and so honored to be able to close this event. It has just been, well, first, y'all did amazing. Y'all did really good. I'm so proud. This program has truly been so impactful in my life. And, well, let me actually introduce myself. I'm Kirsten Simpson. I'm a third-year industrial engineering technology major with a minor in business administration. And I'm just so happy to be here tonight. Thank you. as we close our Minority Engineering 20th anniversary celebration, I would personally like to express my immense gratitude for this program's existence. Thank you to President Spina, Dr. Burnley, Dean Rojas, for your leadership and support of MEP. Your words tonight truly reflect our university's commitment for striving for excellence in diversity. Thank you to our alumni and student speakers for sharing your stories of how MEP has influenced your lives. Your stories were beautiful and your stories matter. Thank you. Jeremy Hill, thank you so much for welcoming us to this program. This has been such an amazing program, and your commentary has been fabulous. Thank you. I am so honored to work with amazing people such as Jerika, Laura, and Mace. Thank you so much. You really make MEP feel as though it's a family to me. And I hope that all of you feel as though you are in a room of family. Our university focuses on community, but right here in this room, this is family. This is family because we support each other. And we acknowledge our failures, but we also acknowledge our strength, and that's through love. So thank you all for truly being here. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All of you. MEP has opened so many doors for me, and I would not be the person that I am today without MEP. I have grown personally and professionally, and I'm just so blessed to be able to stand before you to just speak these words. I hope that MEP will continue to flourish as it serves the engineering students as they work to become professional and diverse-minded engineers. I know that wherever I go, MEP has prepared me for the next step in my journey. The presence of everyone is a representation of this love. This love, I am repeating because this love is so important. This love is right here and right now because it's just so amazing that we are able to celebrate all of us together as one. We definitely need another clap for that. We really do. Thank you to all the alumni, students, campus, and community partners for celebrating with us this evening. I would now like to invite you all to join us at a celebration so the party will continue, so do not leave. It's gonna keep on going, so we're gonna have a good time. And it's in the George Lounge downstairs. And there are gonna be plenty of desserts, so I hope you guys save some room. They're gonna be delicious. And there's gonna be great music provided by Jorge Munoz, who is a grad student here. Yes, Jorge. I would also like to give a special recognition to our audio and visual team in the back. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to the advancement office for planning this entire event. This event literally would not have gone on without you. Thank you so much for all your hard work and hours that you put in planning. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you. I would also like to thank our photographer, Michael Fallon, a first-year mechanical engineering MEP student, and Christian Cubacub, who is a sophomore computer engineering MEP student, and his team for their videography, as well as providing an open-air photo booth downstairs. So that's why you guys need to come downstairs to get your pictures, because y'all all look good. Yes, y'all look good tonight. And really, to make sure that we capture this moment. We need photos and we need just the memory of all of us being here tonight. This is beautiful and this is amazing that we're all here to celebrate MEP and everything that is done for all of us because we've all been impacted by engineering that matters and all of you do matter. So thank you so much and may you all continue to be blessed. And I would just like to say the MEP ambassadors will be able to direct you downstairs. So all the MEP ambassadors will be in the back and help guide you downstairs. Thank you so much. God bless.